Have you ever ripped open a greasy fast food bag, the smell of fries and burgers hitting you like a wave, only to take a bite and think, is this even worth it? The fries go limp before you're halfway done. The burger's more salt than substance, and the soda tastes like someone forgot the flavor. It's enough to make you wonder if fast food's lost its soul. But hold on, what if there are still a few spots that deliver more than disappointment? Two chains, in fact, that might just make the drive-thru worth it again. Buckle up, because we're diving into the hidden menu to uncover the fast food joints you should skip and the ones that still spark joy. Let's start with a chain that proves not all fried food is worth the grease. Fast food chain. Long John Silver's. Step into a Long John Silver's, and the smell of fried batter wraps around you like a promise of seaside goodness. For a split second, you're dreaming of crispy fish and hush puppies that taste like a coastal escape. But then the plate lands in front of you, and it's a different story. The food glistens, not with fresh from the fryer glory, but with a sheen that screams, how many napkins is this going to take? The batter's so thick it overshadows the thin, bland fish inside, leaving you chewing something closer to an oil-soaked sponge than seafood. It's not just the grease, though. There's plenty of that. The fish itself often tastes frozen, like it came from the back of a grocery store freezer, not the ocean. Even the hush puppies and fries, which should be comfort food staples, feel heavy, tired, and like they've been sitting too long. Want something lighter to balance it out? Good luck. Veggies are a rare guest on this menu, and when they show up, they're an afterthought, limp and forgettable. The low prices might trick you into thinking you're getting a deal, but here's the catch. By the time you're done, you're not satisfied. You're just weighed down, craving a nap to recover from the meal. No wonder so many locations have shuttered. Fried regret just doesn't keep customers coming back. Some diehards swear by the crispy crumbs, those little fried bits that fall off in the fryer. But when the best part of your meal is the scraps, the main event's clearly lost its spark. So tell me, have you ever left a fast food spot feeling more regret than joy? Fast food chain, Burger King. Once upon a time, Burger King ruled as fast food royalty. The flame-grilled Whopper was a legend. Onion rings had their own fan club, and those paper crown hats made every meal feel like a celebration. But somewhere along the way, the throne started to wobble. Walk into a Burger King today, and it's like rolling the dice. Some days you get a decent meal. Others, you're wondering if anyone in the kitchen even cared. The Whopper's supposed to be bold and juicy, but too often it arrives lukewarm, with wilted lettuce, mushy tomatoes, and cheese that forgot how to melt. That signature flame-grilled flavor? It's faded to a whisper, barely setting it apart from the competition. Then there are the fries, soggy more often than crispy, and the menu experiments that sound better in theory than practice. Remember the Halloween Whopper with that black bun that turned your tongue green? Or the Satisfreeze that promised health but delivered confusion? Instead of perfecting their classics, Burger King chases gimmicks that grab headlines but not hearts. And the prices? They're creeping up to match higher quality competitors, making it hard to justify stopping here unless you've got a coupon in hand. For some, a Whopper still sparks nostalgia, but for most, Burger King's gone from king to court jester. So, can Burger King ever reclaim its crown, or is its reign over for good? Fast food chain, Subway promised to keep things fresh, but too often it serves up something questionable. Walk in, and the colourful spread of veggies, meats and breads looks promising at first glance. But lean in closer, and the cracks appear. The bread, famously ruled in Ireland to have so much sugar it couldn't legally be called bread, sets the tone. The meats are sliced so thin you need a stack just to taste them, and they often feel more processed than fresh. Subway markets itself as the healthy choice, but many sandwiches pack as much sodium and calories as a burger and fries. Those sauces you pile on for flavor? They're often the real culprits, turning your healthy lunch into a sneaky calorie bomb. Quality's a gamble too. One location might serve crisp veggies and a generous sub, Another hands you wilted lettuce and a stingy portion that looks rationed. It all hinges on the person behind the counter. If they're on their game, you're golden. If not, tough luck. Sure, the $5 foot-long days were iconic, and a good sandwich artist can still whip up something satisfying. But Subway's Eat Fresh promise has lost its shine since its 90s heyday. The slogan feels more like a hope than a reality. So, does Subway still deserve Eat Fresh? Or is it time for a new tagline? Fast food chain. Arby's bursts onto the scene with a bold claim, "We have the meats." But what they don't tell you is how those meats actually taste. In the commercials, that roast beef sandwich looks stacked and steaming, but in reality, it's often a pile of rubbery beige slices that are salty, yet strangely bland. The texture's off, the flavor's forgettable, and you're left wondering what you just ate. Arby's tries to mix it up with curly fries, sliders, and deli-style sandwiches. But the core issue remains. The roast beef, their flagship, rarely feels fresh or satisfying. Turkey, brisket, and fish options don't fare much better. Thin, cuts drowned in heavy sauces to mask the lackluster quality. The prices don't help. Why pay as much for a roast beef sandwich as you would for a hearty burger or sub elsewhere? The curly fries might be a fan favorite, but a side dish can't carry a whole chain. Arby's leans hard into clever marketing and bold slogans, but while the ads shout confidence, the food whispers disappointment. Is Arby's fast food roast beef, a deli, or just quirky sides? Until it figures that out, it's more memorable for its commercials than its meals. So, when's the last time you craved an Arby's roast beef sandwich, and did it live up to the memory? Fast food chain Sparrow's a time capsule of 90s mall culture, tied to memories of grabbing a greasy slice after hours of shopping. Under those food court lights, a Sparrow slice felt like a reward. But nostalgia only goes so far. Today, the pizza often looks better under heat lamps than it tastes on your plate. The crust's chewy, the cheese turns rubbery, and the toppings are so sparse they're practically a rumor. A true New York slice should be crispy, foldable, and bursting. With flavor, Sparrow's feels more like soggy bread topped with regret. The prices sting too. A single slice can cost as much as a better pie from a local shop or sit-down spot. With malls fading, Sparrow feels like it's clinging to a bygone era. Some defend it as a guilty pleasure, and there's a certain charm in people watching with a fountain soda and a slice. But compared to today's pizza options, Sparrow's lost its edge. At its best, it's a nostalgic mall snack. At its worst, it's a reminder that convenience shouldn't trump quality. So, when's the last time you grabbed a Sparrow slice? Was it for the flavor or just the memories? Fast food chain. Checkers and Rally's roll up with bold promises. Seasoned fries that smell like heaven, towering burgers, and milkshakes that call your name from the drive-thru. But the magic fades fast. The food's so greasy, you can see the oil soaking through the bag before you get home. Those picture-perfect burgers arrive smashed. The fries, though seasoned, are often limp and oversalted, and the chicken sandwiches are more breading than bird, cooked unevenly to boot. Cleanliness and consistency are sore spots too. Customers often find sticky counters, slow service, and food that varies wildly depending on the location. It's a chain where you never know what you're going to get, and that's not a good thing. The fries have a loyal following, and late-night cravings might pull you in, but the regret hits as fast as the grease. Checkers and Rally's thrive on late-night vibes, but when your side dish outshines the main event, you're in trouble. So, have you ever ordered their fries and wished the rest of the meal could keep up? Fast food chain. White Castle's tiny sliders spark fierce debates. For some, they're a nostalgic treasure. Road trips, late nights, even cult classic movies. For others, they're just steamed bread and onion-soaked beef that make you regret ordering a dozen. Those square patties, with their 5 little holes and pickle topping, feel unique at first bite. But after a few, the mushy texture and overpowering onion flavor wear thin, lingering long after the meal's done. Quality's a gamble. Sliders often arrive lukewarm, with damp buns that feel more steamed than toasted. A crave case of 30 burgers sounds fun, but it's often a box of regret your stomach pays for later. White Castle's history as one of America's oldest chains gives it a cult following, and some genuinely love its quirky flavor. But for most, it's more novelty than a meal worth repeating. It's less about quality and more about the story you tell afterward. So, do you eat White Castle for the taste or just for the tradition? Fast food chain. Church's Chicken Churches. Chicken sounds like a southern dream. Golden fried chicken, flaky biscuits, mashed potatoes, and fried okra. But too often, the reality falls flat. The chicken's wildly inconsistent. Juicy one day, dry the next, and almost always coated in a batter that's more greasy than crispy. The seasoning's supposed to be bold, but it often feels bland, forcing you to lean on sauces just to taste something. The biscuits can be buttery and warm or dense and tough. The sides, like watery mashed potatoes, often feel like an afterthought. When prices match better-known chicken chains but the flavor doesn't, it's hard to justify the stop. Loyal fans in some communities swear by it, tied to decades of tradition. But for most, Church's is a one and done. Fried chicken should be comfort food, but only when it's done right. So, when it comes to fried chicken, do you chase the best crunch or stick with tradition? Fast food chain. Little Caesars. Little Caesars' hot and ready promise was a game changer. Walk in, grab a $5 pizza and go. But cheap and fast rarely mean good. The crust's often stiff, like cardboard, with no chewy pull. The sauce leans overly sweet, like tomato candy, and the cheese tastes more plastic than dairy. Pies sit under heat lamps for who knows how long, turning an already lackluster pizza into a microwaved relic. It's food that fills you up, but leaves you unsatisfied. Families on a budget might grab it for convenience, but even they'll admit it's more about cost than craving. The crazy. Bread has its fans, and nostalgia for sleepovers or Little League parties keeps some loyal. But Little Caesars feels like a last resort, not a first choice. It's the poster child for, you get what you pay for. So, is Little Caesars a comfort food memory, or just cardboard in a pizza box? Fast food chain. Jack in the Box Jack in. The box tries to be everything. Burgers, tacos, breakfast sandwiches, egg rolls, milkshakes, you name it. But when you spread yourself that thin, quality slips. Those cheap, greasy tacos are oddly addictive at 2 a.m. But no one's calling them gourmet. The burgers are often dry and slapped together. The breakfast menu's a coin toss. One day decent, the next a mess. The late night vibe works for some, but it comes with low expectations baked in. Cleanliness and service can be hit or miss, with sticky counters and slow lines turning people away. The variety's impressive, but when most of it tastes microwaved, it's hard to care. Jack in the Box is less about great food and more about being open when nothing else is. So, do you hit Jack in the Box for the flavor or just because it's there at 2 a.m.? Fast food chain. Chick-fil-A now. Let's flip to the bright side with Chick-fil-A, a chain that actually earns its hype. When it comes to fast food chicken, they've cracked the code with consistency, flavor, and service that feels like a warm hug. Their chicken sandwich is simple but stellar. Juicy breast meat, lightly breaded, with just the right seasoning, paired with pickles and a toasted bun. It's moist without being greasy, balanced without being boring. The sides shine too. Crispy waffle fries, fresh salads, and sauces so good people stash them in their cars. The service is legendary, polite, efficient, with drive-thrus that move like clockwork, even at peak hours. Prices are higher, but the quality feels worth it. Sure, Chick-fil-A's had its controversies, and that's a factor for some, but purely on food and experience, it's a standout. It proves fast food can be done right. So, is Chick-fil-A your go-to for a chicken sandwich, or does another chain steal the crown? Fast food chain. In and Out. Burger finally, we've got In and Out Burger, the West Coast legend that lives up to its cult status. With a menu that's short and sweet, burgers, fries, shakes, In and Out proves simplicity is king. The burgers are made with fresh, never frozen beef, cooked to order with crisp veggies, soft toasted buns, and perfectly melted cheese. Even the secret menu with animal-style fries and burgers is iconic. Quality control is their superpower. By resisting overexpansion, they keep standards sky high. That's why people wait 30 minutes in line without a grumble. They know it'll taste just as good as last time. Prices are shockingly fair for the quality, often beating out chains that cut corners. The portions are balanced, making every bite satisfying, not overwhelming. In and Out isn't fancy, but it's proof that the simplest meals can be the best. It's why people drive miles for a double-double. So, would you want In and Out to go nationwide, or is keeping it regional part of its magic? That's our journey through the fast food world, the flops that let us down and the gems that keep us coming back. Which chain burned you the most, and which still has your heart? Drop your stories in the comments, give us a thumbs up if you had fun, and subscribe to the hidden menu for the next bite we uncover. Because the truth, it's not always on the menu.